All right.
Good afternoon, guys. And once again, we have Victor Buttaro. Excuse me for a second while I get my
Good afternoon, everybody.
This is an interesting topic we're dealing with today.
One of my favorites.
Is it your favorite? It's definitely my favorite.
It's
one of those things that everybody has on their minds and what it means.
I know realtors and members of the public, a lot of clients have asked me about it.
Yeah, they ask me, they're like, we're going to get things cheaper. And I think that's really the question. Is that true or isn't it true? Will you see a big discount in your real estate commissions because...
First of all,
I really don't know what to
it's
say
basically stating, I mean, I've read a lot of articles, right?
But let's get to the premise first, and then you can say
Okay.
exactly what it's stating. I'm going to ask you to
Go for it.
go into the details. So the premise of the lawsuit, as a general rule of thumb, is that somehow the real estate business and to the Department of Justice's ruling that
Right.
it's anti-competitive, and they basically said that unless we changed our practices, we'd be subject to serious fines and have to change the way we do business. So what does that mean for you guys? Does it mean that real estate commissions are going to go down? And that, you're going to preface some articles that basically say this is going to change
The article stated that now homes will be cheaper. That homes will be cheaper because of the lower commissions. So meaning that people will be able to buy homes cheaper. That's...
Are they going to be high?
No, absolutely not. What's
the premise behind?
The premise
why
behind
do they
it,
think? Why do they think that's going to?
They think that the commissions are the article is misleading to me. They are basically stating that the real estate commissions are driving the values of these properties to skyrocket. Wrong. When a house sells for $60,000, $70,000, $100,000 above asking price, has nothing to do with the real estate agent. That's nowhere.
What do you think it has to do with?
That has to do with the low supply, ultra low supply, which I've never seen, and the demand. I've been in the areas of Jersey. You may have 5, 6, 10 homes on the market, and you have hundreds of people looking for the homes. It's highly competitive.
But one of the things is, like, I think when you talk about real estate commissions and you talk about, market dynamics,
Mm-hmm.
I think one of the things that the most misconstrued part about this whole entire process is obviously agents don't really control prices or commissions. It is a supply demand on each side of the equation.
You mentioned agents controlling. Another
That's what
misleading.
they believe. It's like they believe.
I've been reading that there's a number.
But we had said this before. There is a number. But before, the one thing is that if you feel like service isn't there as part of like being an agent, as part of being a homeowner who's hiring an agent, I still say this: you got to stop paying attention to like a lot of the sales speak that goes on, and look at the fundamentals of what's actually being done. And I think that's something that's missing as a general. And I agree to a certain point that people feel like they're left out of the process or they're being told something, because it's not like everybody does this on a regular basis, so people feel like, I'm being charged too much. They don't really have a good expectation of what the service is supposed to look like. So a lot of it's relied on, like, how do you say, these old school methods.
What I recommend to the public is like, okay, so I just did
the
work around the house.
presentation is important. Look at how everything was presented.
But also get interview.
Yeah.
Interview 3 agents. Interview 5 agents. When I do work on the house, I want to do a kitchen over, right? Do I call one? I call maybe 2 or 3 contractors, and I get 3 different quotes. Same thing. You want to interview different agents. Ask each agent what they're going to do to market your property. You can ask them about their commissions. Everything's negotiable, right?
But we get into the part where like they think they're going to control the cost of selling
No.
with the idea that you can make the process inefficient. So the way the process works, for people who don't know, obviously there's buyer agents, seller agents, and at times the buyer would have a trusted person that they use to find houses. They want to be represented by a buyer's agent. Now, according to this rule, so where it gets a little dicey, and to say that the process is going to actually work less efficiently. And I don't know about economic models, but to me, lack of efficiency is also a factor in costs. So it's like, how do you say, a car that has an inefficient engine is going to cost more to run because
Absolutely.
of its lack of efficiency. And the way the system is operated right now is that it's an efficiency system, because what happens is instead of an agent contacting a buyer contacting an agent for each property they want to see, schedule in times that person's going to be able to show and try to set it up for them, is going to be jaded and like broken, because it's going to be like have all fits and starts, because who's going to fit their schedule, and is it going to be... So this is going to cost efficiency, and I don't think that's the part that's really being looked at. But again, I mean, we don't have to look at much of the way... I mean...
Well, there are a few factors
they think that's going to...
they're not mentioning. It's a lot of moving parts. There are several factors which affect the price of a home, and also affordability. We as realtors, I have no control over mortgage rates. I have no control over mortgage rates. Mm-hmm. That's based on the 10-year Treasury. So, back in 2020, people were getting 2.5,
question there.
2.5, 3% mortgage rates. Now we're at 7.
Are you brothers? We're both, not yet.
We're brothers from another mother.
Close.
So the mortgage rates I don't control. So now your affordability is based on the mortgage rate. Now you're at 7%. Maybe you could afford a $600,000 house in 2020. Now maybe you could buy one for $400,000 in 2024. That's one. I don't control the price. Demand sets price. One more time. Demand sets price. I can't wave a magic wand and say this house, it's gonna be $1 million. No, it may be listed at $899, $900,000. It may be a hot house. Demand sets price. All of a sudden, we have multiple offers at asking. That house goes above asking, maybe 70, 80, 90, $100,000 above asking. Again, I as a realtor have no control whether I'm the buyer's agent or the seller's agent.
I would work for who? There's someone asking a question.
Who wants to work for?
I work for a hygiene factory.
For whom?
You would work anywhere near that place. I don't
know.
So folks who are
and also
obviously we have a better, just so you know, we have a better audience on TikTok.
Good. Now the commission percentages, I can't discuss percentage, and I'm going to say this, and this is from Real Estate 101. Again, all commissions are negotiable. Every realtor in this country should know that. It's part of your education as a realtor. So there is no set commission. I read a lot of articles from different news sources that claim that realtors were charging a quote-unquote standard commission. I'm going to say this. No such thing as a standard commission. Meaning, when a realtor comes to your home, you interview them, you can ask them, what are you charging for commission?
I installed a skylight in my apartment. The people who above me are what? Furious.
What does that have to do with real estate?
This is TikTok.
Okay.
So people just, The interesting thing, and guys, I know we're going to cross-platform things. And Carrie, do me a favor. Could you share it to the white page? I don't think I did.
So again,
Sorry.
if you interview, same thing when you hire a contractor, right? Prices are negotiable. They may charge you a certain price to do
I
kitchen.
think the key here,
Same
though, I
thing.
want to make sure that homeowners understand that the key part of the job of a real estate professional is in your listing contract, and it states it right at the top.
Which is?
Your realtor's ability to market the property. And that's there's a big disconnect, like what this is supposed to look like. And I think it's probably one of the easiest things to sort out, because if you're looking for service, that's where the service lies. I've said this 1,000 times. It's really, if you can't get an audience for a house, and I say this again, a lot of people get disillusioned because when they do their homework and they find out that, and in today's day and age, things have changed so much that it's not just good enough to kind of like let, and you know what the lawsuit will do is it's going to remove pieces of the business that were fundamentally inefficient to begin with. And I don't think you're going to have the practice of real estate will have to change. And I think if you're not, and I think this is where I think most homeowners feel like how invested is the real estate people involved in the process of selling the house. And that's where it gets, because they see a number, obviously they'll see $30,000, and so what's the investment? And I think that's really the key here. What does the investment pay for? And it becomes an issue that I think most homeowners lack the understanding that you have to pay attention to that. Investing in the process is necessary to determine what the value of the service is, because it's very hard to determine just from, you know, and I know it's important, how many sales a person does is very important. All of these things are good, but, you know, I've seen people who have 2 sales compete with people with 30 sales, but they do a better job at presenting the property to the public than somebody who may rest upon yesterday's sale to today's sale, which could be completely different.
There's
and
a
it
lot
comes
of
down
factors
to,
in play.
and we have a great new agent who actually accomplished that feat in the first year of business. She's one of the island's top producers, and she basically, not that she doesn't have experience, but I think from a listing side of the business, I think she may have eclipsed the entire record for that ever.
I agree.
For the amount of listings she got in 1 year.
As a rookie,
But that's
yes.
because of what I call the structure of the organization focuses around the benefit of the consumer, because of our obviously hardworking people and staff and everybody who puts all this together makes an efficient model for people to.
And they were not easy sales. I mean, she did $1 million plus high end properties. She didn't do. She did stuff that, you know, 20-year agents.
That's why I think that's where broker models are changing, and I do think that's where, like, if there's going to be a change, you have to change. I mean, I hate to say this. One of the biggest problems I have with when I hear certain things about the business that I don't like, that may be adjusted in this, is I'm in the business to make money. No, you're not.
You're in the business.
You're
to
business to
serve
provide a
the
service,
clients.
and then you're in the business based upon that service. You're rewarded for the.
Well, people hate that I say this. I use this term all the time, and I'm going to use it again. And I call it a popularity contest. And people treat it, and unfortunately, like a popularity contest. It's kind of like when you vote for the class president, and everybody votes for the guy, and he may be a jerk or whatever. You know why, but people vote for the guy, and I'm going to go with this guy. And people say, well, I'm going to go with so-and-so. Oh, because I owe him a favor, or, you know, it's my friend's friend, and I don't want to upset.
Yeah, but
this is a business. This is what I don't understand.
But
this
that's
is
where
a business decision.
That's where the business will change, because I don't think the tools that necessarily they're used to using, which is, I do think that there's a portion of the business that's like, okay, I put my house on the market, we take some photos, we put it in the MLS and hope it sells. If you're into this mode,
That's
it's going to be
1980s.
very disappointed. And I think with this, is that the hard part about what's going to happen is that I do believe you're going to hemorrhage out a lot of buyer agents. There's no doubt about it. Because the system is so inefficient that the ability, which isn't going to improve prices. I'm going to tell you, if you look at it from that standpoint, it's not going to improve prices because you're going to have less people in the business does not make for a better. Well, this is like everything economics that you try to get from, I don't want to say from certain agencies or some authority, is that they're going to, by doing something, that they're going to get the desired results.
No.
Like inflation was
Again,
transitory.
It's not.
I just don't think that.
That's another thing. Inflation.
But this is the problem.
And we don't control inflation.
It's done with like, oh, we did something to accomplish lower prices. No, you didn't.
No, the prices are the big.
You don't understand the whole entire process. It's one process, a multitude of processes that. If you have less people in the business competing for the business that's there, obviously you're going to drive prices up, not down. Same thing with like, if you have more houses on the market, prices generally, there's more supply. And same thing with real estate people. If you have more real estate people, the chances are prices will come. That's when prices come down for service, when there's multitude of people doing it. You have options. And when you have fewer options, it may not change the end result for what people think. It could go up. Prices to sell may
if anything,
even go higher.
It's over. In my opinion, the realtors it's oversaturated with the amount of realtors that are out there, and so I mean, there are plenty of realtors out there. So there is competition in the sense that you have a lot of realtors, so you can interview 10, 20 agents if you like. And shop around.
Well, I mean, it's shop around. The bottom line is infrastructure matters. I think that's where since I've been in this business, the one thing that I try to fundamentally improve upon is the development of infrastructure to display the properties we do sell to the best possible audience, to the biggest audience, and keep doing that on a regular basis. Unfortunately, it costs a lot of money to do. It's not cheap to do. But you're providing a service, and for people to be successful and all. And this is, let me finish that. People to be successful in your organization, they have to have the premise that whatever that brokerage is doing is backing up the back half of the business for you, because you do take a listing, it belongs to the broker.
Correct. All listings belong to the broker.
Yeah, and that's where people get it wrong. It's like, well, so much of the business is. Well, if you're in the business of collecting fees is the way you're doing business, these things, they're going to take, this is where it's going to be painful. It's going to be painful because this is not the days of just like, collecting licenses and doing this thing where it's like, well, let's fee collect, let's use, like there's too much of this business that's spread out amongst things they're not related to. They're not related to the real estate business.
There's a question I want to interrupt you. I'm sorry for that. It says, do you broker property in Port Jefferson? I have a 2.7. I'm thinking of
selling.
I mean,
something like that. I'm going to.
We sell.
Yeah, but I mean,
anywhere in New York.
We'll look into that comment. We'll be in touch.
Anybody that wants to, you can call me or text me or Anthony privately later on, and I'll be happy to answer all your questions one-on-one.
But But the big thing is what the hell's going on with the price with the price of the houses now, and how do we think this is going to affect you as a homeowner, thinking that maybe this is going to work in your favor? Because we do get this question quite frequently. It's like, oh, I heard about this lawsuit. Does this mean I'm not going to pay less commission? So basically, the structure of this. Do you want to do the structure?
The structure
of the commission, how they want.
Well, the commission.
We can't advise the commission.
I'm trying. Look, they're still in litigation. We're still not done with those.
Well, that part of it is defined.
But they're saying now
how it's going to look. We don't know.
If I read correctly, now they're not to. So what the buyer's agent is getting cannot be listed on the MLS. So let's use fruits as an example. And if you get 2 apples, So the buyer's agent will get 2 apples for, so basically that can no longer be listed in the MLS,
Right.
the commission. So agents can't look and say, what's that mean? Does
Maybe,
it say
maybe
that,
you will get 2 apples for your next commission.
does it say that, so what they're trying to figure out is do they want the buyers to sign a buyer's agency agreement and have the buyer pay the buyer's agent commission? That's
Well, right.
Yes.
I think I think it's been drawn. The line's been drawn, and there's one part of it that is a little ambiguous, which is it says it's like it makes it seem like there is an option. I want to be clear that I'm not sure about that just yet. The real question is like it's going to be the option for the seller. And most sellers, we go over it when we do the contract. We go over this part and say, well, we're going to put out a certain amount of money for the X. Now, I'm not going to tell you that to certain degrees that different areas practice real estate different ways. There's different, how do you say, there are different rituals to location. And one of the things about our company is we're spread around quite far. We got like a good, like, we go as far as
Ocean County, New Jersey?
all the way down maybe as far as South Jersey into like maybe 80 miles away to the south, another 80 miles to the north. And that's because, thankfully, we run one of the largest digital media presences
In the region.
In the region. So our YouTube channel.
Speaking of which, one of our listings wasn't the gentleman that saw the video from Boston?
Yes.
Okay.
Another one from Boston.
So we're in Staten Island, and we had a property in Staten Island, and obviously someone from Boston saw the video tour that we did on one of our listings, beautiful property that we have by the water, with water views, and this person viewed our video and fell in love with the property. That's a perfect example of the marketing that we do. We have that reach that even as far as California, the one that you sold in
Brick, New Jersey.
In Brick, New Jersey, those people were from California, correct? Mm-hmm. So that's how far, even worldwide, you had somebody from Egypt.
Yes.
That's on Nicolosi.
That's the beauty,
so
but
we're on the World Wide Web. Our video tours are on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, every social media platform you can think of. Most people begin their home search on the internet nowadays. I would say about 95%.
One of the interesting things that we do see now that we do these things is how many direct calls we get from doing them. It's not something that's...
They call us directly, yes.
Because of that type of presence that we have. We're not really resting so much on the MLS to do the work. We kind of do the heavy lifting because that's really what we're charged to do. And that's where people have to get this right. You got to get this right for the... I mean, you think about it. I think, and this is the wild part about this. You think about why people are upset with the process is because there's very little information about how they should look once you go onto the market.
Well, the problem I see
they're like, I guess there's like...
People always talk about,
Well, you talk about the
commission,
popularity,
commission, right? When you go to a listing appointment, what's your commission, what's your commission, what's your commission, what's your commission, commission. Okay. Once we get past that, do they ask, what are you going to do to market the property? How many... it's like going for a job interview and you're discussing the salary with a candidate.
Well...
And basically you want to know the qualifications of the candidate.
Can I sum this up for you?
Sure.
Like, to make this simple. If you don't investigate your doctor who's going to do heart surgery, and your heart surgery could cost $500,000, but yet your real estate you own could exceed that by $250,000 to maybe $500,000 even more than heart surgery.
Okay.
You'll do more research on the way they're going to perform on your heart.
Yeah, well, they're cutting you open.
For less money than you will do for the sale of a house, which is the part that drives me absolute. Like, you just can't. That is not something that I think people take seriously enough. It's like, wait a minute, you are going to. This is someone you're putting a vast amount of your life's wealth.
Your single most
valuable
asset
Just
is
think
your
about
home.
that. I don't understand for the life of me. It's like, what don't you get about that? It's like you have to look at what's being done, and I just don't see it. And that's where, and if you're disappointed, I'm going to say it. Because there's that funny one that we did. Promises can only be made in words, and it's true to a degree, But if you're just paying attention to the words, you're. I don't think it was anything. If you're just pay attention to the words, you're going to get it wrong. You got to look at what's being put into the process, and it's going to save you money and it's going to gain you money. How much of an audience a particular property gets will be very detrimental to say. We've done studies on this, guys. It's one of the things I spent years developing.
Case in point, we took an expired listing in Jackson, correct? Several months on the market, expired.
In a week.
We sold it in a week. It was
showings.
listed several months on the market. It expired.
Yep.
Had no showings. We did our thing. We did our marketing. We had it sold in about a week. Yeah.
And they are how many miles away? About 60? Yeah.
Almost.
About 50.
About an hour drive
50,
from
60
here.
miles.
And we went.
And that
again,
goes
we're
to
from
prove
Staten
that you
Island.
can
We
do
could
things
sell in
further away.
Jersey. I've gone to every part of Jersey. I've gone to South Brunswick, Jackson. I could sell. Again, our infrastructure is there.
Well, Kerry's hoping we sell in Florida soon.
That's next. New York, New Jersey, Florida.
Yes. Right, Kerry?
Yes,
Yes.
I hope so.
She's like, when we open the Florida office. I think that's maybe in 2 years. I don't know why I have the Bitcoin chart in front of me, but it's on.
It means that Bitcoin is up, and that's why.
Well, I've said
Price
this
of
before.
properties.
Prices. We said it before, and that's funny because we talked about the correlation between Bitcoin earlier and the pricing of houses. That very correlated. Seems to be like as prices seem to elevate in real estate, the price of Bitcoin seems to go in that direction. We're starting to see prices. They did. It's
Prices
like,
in real estate are.
they keep going. Like
I mean, I'm dealing with the
but
Jersey market.
it's funny
and
because the Jersey market, you go back from Staten Island to New Jersey, and I think, Kerry, we did a report back in February and January about this, and I think we prices were suppressed when the rates got up to 8%.
Yeah.
So we were down maybe 4% in that span of time. And as soon as the rates changed back to like 6.25, about so,
bidding
all of a
wars.
sudden, and that's how delicate and volatile the market is. And I said this before.
Imagine if the rates were to drop to 4%.
It would be, which is what the Fed is basically saying. But the problem is I don't see this. And we've got to stay on the topic, but this is an interesting one too. I don't see that changing. I don't see affordability changing anytime soon. I don't see what's gonna.
Because I believe, this is my personal belief, if the rates drop to 4, the prices are going to increase even more.
It could be.
It's because they're increasing right now at 7%.
And
Imagine.
we said this before. The inventory that's on the market, why it's taking so long, is basically
My theory on that is because
you can't afford to buy the house that you're in.
that is true. Let's just say I purchased my home in 2020 at a 3% interest rate. A, the property went up in value.
Mm-hmm.
B, now the interest rates are 7. So I would sell, maybe make a profit, definitely make a profit on it, but I would be purchasing at a higher price and at a higher, more than double the interest rate.
More than double the interest rate.
So that's the affordability is the key. And it's people's ability to buy. How much house can they buy for that monthly payment?
Okay, well, they shadow ban us on Facebook Live. Is just completely.
It's doing it to you guys?
Yeah.
It's doing what?
Really been shot.
What's that?
Facebook Live has been really dead.
What are we on now?
With bottom TikTok, up top is, you know what's funny? I spend my time now focusing down here.
So TikTok is still up and running and
Yes.
live.
Facebook is still running.
All right.
You know, wonderful students.
We seem to be getting more questions on TikTok, I notice. Right?
We get a lot more activity on TikTok, period.
Interesting.
We're probably going to get even more shadow banned on Facebook if we keep talking about TikTok. Because they don't like,
Right, competition.
Which is the bill they're trying to get rid of TikTok. You know that, right?
Yeah, I heard about this. I've been reading about that.
I'll talk about that privately.
Yeah, that I don't want
I
to.
don't even
Political
want, yeah.
discussions. Let's keep it real estate related.
Well, that's politics too. Real estate's always
Real
politics.
estate is it's an interesting.
But my thing for you is, what do you think this plays out? What happens to the MLS?
What happens
Does
to
it
the
lose its
MLS?
relevance, you think?
I mean,
Because one of the things is that the source of the MLS was basically to vet compensation for buyers agents.
the MLS is a tool.
But what happens like if you don't know like what your commission is? Why are you even gonna look?
You could call the listing agent directly, send them a text, give them a phone call.
Right.
That's one.
It's just gonna be a repository for someone to contact.
MLS has been around for a long time. Do I rely on it? A little bit. It's one of the tools. It's not the tool. My marketing is separate from the MLS. The video tours as a matter of fact, because we're branded, we're not allowed to put our video tours on MLS because it's branded video. That's why we go on third-party sites, YouTube, etc. Because we don't do that. So I don't know. The MLS is a tool, not the tool that I use. It's one of them. It's changing. The world is changing. We have AI. We have multiple platforms that came after the MLS. The third-party websites. People basically, the general public basically has some sort of access to the MLS from third-party websites that.
Even our own features.
Right.
Every real estate website. Pretty much.
We even have our own website that I use if I want to look for Staten Island homes for sales. That's what I would use.
It was just, but my biggest thing is that with the move to this change is.
It's going to be interesting.
Well, I mean, the problem is it's going to be a repository of information because the question really becomes if real estate people leave the business in the droves that they do, the cost of operating MLSs may be at stake. So the repository for information, which everybody seems to want to get their hands on, but they don't realize the efficiency costs involved, and that's part of the problem. They don't realize that it takes organizational management to run an MLS. And that organizational management is run through the system which currently operates. Without the ability to generate new agents or buyer agents to come into the business, you're going to have a shrinking pool of agents, shrinking pool of revenue for MLSs because they pay into the system.
I don't think having a shrinking pool of agents is good.
Well, it's not going to be definitely not good for fees.
As a listing agent,
which keep the organization together.
I rely on the buyer's agents.
Well, I mean,
it's more than benefiting me. It's benefiting
the biggest
the
thing
home
is
seller.
you're relying on the repository of information that's coming from there. From the MLS, you're relying on the repository of information that's being collected at the ground level, stored into a single site, and then disseminated amongst active agents,
Right.
which is the MLS. Without that, in other words, there's an efficiency cost. I mean, there's a cost of doing business for that. If you take away the buyer's agents, let's just say that could mean a 50% hit in revenue for the MLS, and that may not be able to function. And
That could also result in lower sales price for the seller. If there is less traffic, if that affects the traffic.
Picture
instead
a
of
buyer not getting any agents.
Well, you have 100 buyers.
You have to go to every website individually.
Right. So now it makes it inefficient.
Right. So how is it going? Right.
So now, if it's inefficient, okay, instead of having 100 buyers agents each of them bring in a buyer to a listing, you reduce that by 50%, 75%, less showings, less offers. To me, equals a lower sales price ultimately. It will affect the consumer.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so it is smart. I mean, I think that
you want that. You want that cooperation. The cooperation between agents, to me, it's more beneficial for the consumer. I've had plenty of people ask me if I wanted to do an exclusive, right? I take the listing, it's an exclusive listing. And I always say to the client, it's not going to benefit you for me to have the listing exclusively because I may have a handful of buyers.
We're keeping
So,
Kerry hostage.
By me
That's 5.
cooperating with the buyer's agents, it brings more people.
Not to disrupt, but you go, if on your way out, just make sure you turn on the air conditioning because I'm about to die in
Oh,
here.
you want it on.
It's getting hot, the topic.
It's getting hot in here.
So I think
Anyway.
the thing is the buyer's agents are important. And if you have less people looking at the house, less traffic, it will result in a lower sales price. Maybe you won't
It's not
have
going to be the
those
case for us. Not at all. We're going to get the traffic because one of the things that I do work on diligently
It's our marketing.
is the infrastructure which we operate grows at a very rapid pace every day. It
I
is
see
like
the
one-
views we get.
I mean, regardless of it's one platform or another that I'm working on, and Kerry knows which ones I always work on because I'm like
I've taken plenty
I'm
of difficult
like a
listings.
sickening addict when it comes to developing infrastructure. Whatever way I could do it. But the biggest thing is that it's important and paramount to drive value for the consumer-based product that we deliver, which is we have to, as agencies, not just collect commissions, but provide service quotients that allow agents to succeed. And thankfully, and I hate to say this, I'm going to say this is when you have new agents being able to perform at a high level, I think it speaks a lot to what you're doing as an organization. Even you, when you first came, and like, I'm saying that people did anything worse or bad, but when you have something to sell these people on, and you have a platform, it definitely makes their job a lot easier, and the
Yes.
seller's job a lot better performing because we've done studies. We've actually case studied these out. I've taken properties that consistently don't get attention, now get attention, and sell. And this is part of what we do. It's a sickening.
I mean,
passion
the
we have.
record's out there. I mean, the proof is in the pudding, I always say.
Remember 8 Bland?
Yeah, but plenty of homes like that. Charit's Road, I can name.
Failed to sell.
We've taken plenty of expired listings or for sale by owner listings. Listings that
Alana had quite a
failed
few
to sell.
too. They were failed to sell, and they just constantly turned them
And
over.
we do things differently.
And at the prices that some of these places were listed for are more. And that's because you have to be working to get the attention of the buyer, and it's a very noisy atmosphere.
Go ahead.
Go ahead,
Go
Carrie.
Hi, guys.
Carrie's gonna cross the path.
Hi, everyone. Oh, they did not see me. Okay.
Chad, we'll see you tomorrow.
Yes. Good night.
Good night.
So where we're going from here is you're basically going to see a world of difference in, and for the people who are in the business now and the agents that are in the business, I think, you got to be looking at infrastructure as a matter of doing business now, because without that setup, I think if you're not geared your organization toward what the infrastructure costs are going to be doing to, because you're going to be, your ability to market now will be the single most important factor, because you're not going to have the ability to grab the attention through buyer's agents who are going to make the process efficient for you. You're going to have to go outside the box, and you're going to have to reach people that you probably never had to reach before and show it. And I think one of the things that organizationally you have to look at is like how efficient you can make the model. And I don't think, I'm going to say this, it's not going to be as smooth or as cost less as people believe, because
It's not going to cost less.
you can't just change a rule and believe that it's, if the practice was actually anti-competitive to the degree that they're saying,
It's like saying if you cut the car dealers, okay, you're the salesperson that's on the floor.
Why
if
is-
you cut their commission, it's like saying, you know what? I'm going to make cars cheaper by
Why is it-
cutting the
But
commission
here's a
of
good question.
the
Here's
car
a perfect
salesperson.
example, right? When you go to sell your car used on the street, you're going to get less for it than if you went to the dealer. The dealer gets a premium on the car. Why? So if you were to go sell on the street,
Why does the dealer get more?
why does the dealer say you?
Okay,
because
so
they're notorious.
A-
They always say what the price of the person gets on the street.
his marketing ability is one. So he has a showroom. He has traffic. He drives traffic. Maybe I'm looking for a Toyota. I'm walking in there, but all of a sudden I see a Honda. Oh, wow. That Honda's, man, maybe I'll buy the Honda. That dealership has the ability that I do not have as a single person listing it on a marketplace or an ad in the newspaper. It's my marketing ability. That's the key. My marketing cannot match that of a dealership.
Why? Because
That's-
and here's what I'm going to tell you why that happens. Is because over the course of time, if the development of the infrastructure to deliver that result has been established, it's very hard to jump into an infrastructure with no resources and say I can get the best marketability for a property. It's very difficult to do. When you spend days and hourly resources,
And not all properties are the
to do
same.
that.
It's not a cookie cutter where
I think it's more difficult
when
than
we deal
cars.
with when we deal with million plus properties, 1.2, 1.3. That's a different beast in itself.
Well, we've seen houses that are so unique.
Right.
And it's the way
With water views is an example.
Right. So, like we did one.
How do you market that? You can't market a home with water views the same
front.
way you market a townhouse in Brooklyn.
But it's
They're
done like that.
two complete. But again, so you have a front face. You know,
Here's an example. The one you just got into acceptance and nearly coming to contract. The one on,
in Dungan Hills
Overlook.
Colony. Yes. What does it have? It has beautiful views.
but you cannot get that. You can't accomplish that.
So you don't
on
market
the MLS.
that. No, because the
And
photo.
that's where it's like, because if you look at the picture, it's a hillside house, right?
Correct.
So the first picture you come across, if you're going down the screen, you can see a very high priced, very small looking house. You get 3 seconds to grab their attention.
Right.
And then all of a sudden, out from there, you're going to make a judgment. The person's going to make a judgment on
Based
that
on a
first,
photo.
the first photo they see.
Right.
They say overpriced. Meanwhile, when we did the introduction to that house, it was done from the back and wrapped around to the front. And there goes we do have an answering service. So that will be.
And there goes the video. That's really, and again, the gentleman that fell in love with the house lives in another state. He's not from here.
Yeah.
He's not even from the tri-state area.
Yep.
He probably had no idea that neighborhood existed. I'm from Brooklyn. I had no idea about Nicolosi Drive or Dungan Hills Colony in Staten Island.
Well, if you go to our YouTube channel, you can see it.
It looks to me like California. I mean, if you were, I would be like, there's no way that's New York. I'm a city boy from Brooklyn. We don't have properties like that look like that.
Why not?
It's just Brooklyn is very congested. You have a lot of buildings. Everybody's on top of each other. You have the elevated, the subway. It's a very unique city. A lot of townhomes. Even if you've seen Sesame Street, if you look at downtown Brooklyn, the brownstones, the homes with the steps, that's what I'm used to, right? So if I think of New York City, I'm thinking of buildings. I'm thinking of Manhattan. I'm thinking of Brooklyn. I'm thinking townhomes. I'm not thinking Staten Island waterfront property.
Would you imagine now?
So again, I'm like, wow, that's where is
Could you
that?
imagine now that so much of that service will disappear? So if you don't have infrastructure, it's going to be very hard to convey locality-based. Not to say every agent knows them to begin with, but you will not be able to get the sense of location on anything related to.
Brick, New Jersey, another case in point. We had a house that was on a lagoon with a boat slip. I never knew that Brick. We had several. I never knew that Brick, New Jersey. I would never
2
even
years
think.
on the market.
But most people wouldn't think of Brick, New Jersey. And that house got the attention, again, 2 years on the market, couldn't sell.
We still
And then-
get calls for that house today.
We still get calls for that house. And again, with the video tour, I'm like, wow, where is that, Anthony? It's like, that's Brick. Brick.
I almost, I would have bought that house. If I had thought back now, it was 450.
Oh my God, that would be my retirement home with a boat slip right in the back.
It was really nice. And they did a nice job together putting it. It was.
Think about waterfront property. It was
450. They were trying to sell it 450 for sale by owner. We got it closer to 5 because it was like there was no attention brought to it. And they're trying to sell it through the front-facing photo. And I told them they can't do it. It's not going to work.
And our video tours online too on that.
Oh yeah, 41 East Granada.
What's the address?
41.
41 East Granada.
If you go look it up, you'll see just what kind of tour that was. But I think on Facebook alone it was like at 40,000 views was in the first
Marketing
week.
definitely makes a difference. I've taken the.
I think the important thing is the agents knowing how it works for their clients is key. So our agents do know.
I always sit down with the clients, and I love an educated consumer. An educated consumer is my best client.
Yeah, if you really educate yourself.
And when they appreciate what we do, what our video tours do, how we target a certain audience, how we can make people that normally would not pay attention to a certain area look at the area. Our reach definitely brings the results that
it does. It brings the results that you're really gonna. But the big thing is with the Realtor lawsuit is it's gonna matter more that if you don't have the ability through buyer agency, you at best get yourselves ready to do listing side business. That's not going to be easily accomplished unless it's not. You're going to have a difficult time. There's an over-reliance on the fact that MLS for some people will sell the house. I think there's a lot of that.
And why this to me, this is why people do the for sale by owner. Like, I can do the same thing as the realtor. Yeah, let me take some photos.
Well, now
and throw it on a website. Yeah, I'll sell my house.
No. Yeah, it's not that simple.
It's not. People think that's what it takes to sell a home. It doesn't.
We're in the age of AI, so if you think that a front-facing photo is going to sell a house or create attention for a house, you probably. We're in an age of media that never. I mean, you're talking about. If you're not into immersive media, you're basically.
Or even open houses. Limited. Open houses is it's a. You know,
I'm not going to get into open houses. There's people who promote open houses like it's something seriously good. I'm sorry. I'm going to be the
marketing-wise,
it's the outlier here and say
it's an old way of doing things.
If you can't get someone to experience a house from the share of their home,
the comfort of the living room.
I mean, nobody who's anybody is going. It's so small the fact that people will.
Well, let's do numbers. How many people will come to an open house? Give me a number. 10 people.
That's on a good level.
Give me on a good day, on a Saturday.
I mean, some places.
So let's just say 10.
With this market, it's probably 50.
Let's just say 50 people. All right, let's do that number. 50 people are going to come to an open house. Compare 50 people versus 10,000 people sitting at home watching the video tour.
Right.
From the comfort of the living room. Could be at 2 o'clock in the morning. It could be on the West time zone. It could be in California.
You know,
it could be.
The purpose of a open house was for, right?
I know the purpose is to drum up business.
Well, I mean, besides that, do you know where it originated from? I mean, this is a relic of the 70s.
No, I don't know. So that's before my...
So it was before you could go online to see a house, you had to go to an open house to see it. So if you wanted to tour properties, because it wasn't online back in the day when they created open houses, so you couldn't see the house unless you actually physically went there.
Correct.
And people would shop through each house because you couldn't go online and see it. You had to go, so people would, in order to display the house, you'd have to physically have an
open house. And people would walk in. And
I'll get chat. Oh my God, Al, he has so much chatter about this. Be like, oh, Anthony, how could you say such a thing? Open house is so important.
Look, I wouldn't host me personally. Sometimes you'll get
you really have to be. You really have to be. I mean, certain things can be done with it if you're in conjunction with other things, but it's.
You know, I rarely did open houses in my career, and that's not because I don't want to. If a client asks for it, I will do it. I never had to do one. If I can sell the house in a week with the digital marketing that we do, I don't need to do an open house.
Yeah.
If I'm doing the proper job marketing the property, I don't need to do an open house. The
Yeah,
house is goes.
really-
I sell it in a week. Great. It's better for the client. You have to have people walking in and out of your house.
One of the things that these chairs do is they kill my back.
Mine too.
So I got to get more comfortable chairs. Maybe because you got to put your foot on the floor, keep yourself. You basically keep yourself stable.
Do like a studio. Make it like a
I know, I'm gonna have to like reformat my office.
I want the background. You know how they do the digital background with the green screen?
Yeah, we could do that.
I'd like that.
We could do that. We could definitely do that. I think that's.
That looks cool.
That'll be our next stop along this.
And put a big microphone here.
Oh yeah, like
That
the
big-
whole.
yeah,
Instead of
the
these,
whole-
it's like little.
The whole studio.
The whole experience. But anyway, it is it's 5:18, and obviously, if you have questions, obviously there are a few, and we appreciate them. Let us know, because I do think that the changes, whether they exist to the degree that you think there's going to be a change, that's something to be on the watch for.
I saw a lot of questions there. Again, if you have questions that I did not address in this live, feel free to reach out to me, call me, text me, email, whatever method of communication you
can
prefer.
even hit the message to
You want to
here.
schedule an appointment for a consultation, it's fine.
Schedule that consultation.
Just get me a cup of coffee,
There you go.
and we're good to go. It's not asking much.
No, not too much. A little bit.
Maybe a pastry, cannoli, then why not?
Okay. That's where we call it a day, folks. But if you have a question about where the lawsuit puts you, that's something you could ask us, and we'll definitely be here to help that out, help you answer that question. All right, have a great day, folks. Enjoy the lovely weather, and it is almost May. Can you believe that?
Yeah.
Oh, you just celebrated birthday, right? Happy birthday again.
Yeah.
Will you turn 28?
Yeah, I wish. Next year the check engine light comes on.
That's it. The check engine.
Yeah.
Oh, goodness. All right, guys. Have a great day. You know what? I forgot how to shut that up.
Top.